Hello Wolfies, how's it going? Happy Friday! Actually, by the time I make this video, it's probably going to be Saturday, so happy weekend. Today's video, I wanted to talk about my Twitch front page experience. I've actually been on the front page once before, a long time ago, and there's different types of front pages that I figured I'd let you guys in on. The one that I had experience with that was like real front page experience was in 2022, I believe. It was the Vtuber takeover event in which they feature Vtubers on their front page carousel. And I thought that was a really cool event because that was the first time I got to experience what like true real big numbers looks like. And it felt like at that time, what was it, like 3 years ago, a lot of people were really interested in the different like types of VTubers that were coming out at the time, because VTubing was still like relatively newish, although it wasn't as niche as it is like maybe 5 years ago. It was definitely a time where you could become big being a VTuber. Nowadays, I feel like even though I was featured on the front page, being a VTuber isn't as niche anymore. Although my design is pretty eye-catching, I feel like you have to be like truly eye-catching in some instances for that to matter. So let me share with you some things about how to get on the front page and what to do once you get there. I think a lot of people skipped over this. You definitely got to make sure that you receive emails from Twitch, because they send you a lot of notifications, some of which are really, really cool. For example, the AAPI event, or there's the LGBTQ event. There's a lot of different events that you may be qualified to be a part of that if you're not checking your email on a regular basis, that you might miss over. And some of those are really good opportunities. That's how I got my 2022 VTuber takeover event. This front page one, it did come in the form of notification, but there were extra steps to sign up for it. So for this particular one, if you are a Twitch partner, you have access to the Twitch partner Discord server, and there's a channel in there where they have a Discord, or they have a Google form where you can sign up to be on Twitch's front page. And you pretty much just pick a time slot, you answer a bunch of questions. It's pretty much like run-of-the-mill stuff. It's not really like a huge secret or anything, but you pretty much like bid for a time slot. So if you're a Twitch partner, go for it. I highly suggest it. There's really no downside to applying for it. And there are a few rules that you want to make sure that you keep track of. I personally wouldn't try to skirt the rules as hard if I had the opportunity to be on front page, but I know there's a lot of people who would like to more or less push the boundaries of the rules. Maybe not at this time, even though it would get you a lot of attention. I know that like there are certain VTubers out there, especially who have used the opportunity, or like not even some VTubers, but some content creators who may use the opportunity a little maliciously. There were a couple of VTubers who've done something questionable, and you know, they do draw more attention to your channel, but I don't know if that's the type of attention you would want. So yeah, that is how you get on the Twitch front page. It's pretty cut and dry, pretty simple. Don't take too many risks. I thought it'd be a good idea to share some of the things that I liked about it and things that I would have changed, so that if you ever get your opportunity to, that you won't make the same mistakes that I did, or you can maybe take some ideas about what to do. So let's start with the things that I liked. First, I'm glad I really hyped up the event on Twitter, Discord, YouTube, what have you, my other communities. Despite being on the front page and the numbers showing like 2,000 plus, I feel like there were not a lot of new people turning into the channel. At the very least, there weren't any chatters. I think having an active chat is a sign of a healthy community, and you definitely want your community to show up so that your chat doesn't appear dead. I know a lot of community out there have a lot of lurkers in their channels, and we love lurkers, don't get me wrong, and some have a super active chat. I mean, like, there's all different types of communities out there, but I think when you're on the front page, the latter is definitely better. If you have some new people coming in, you want to make sure they feel welcome. So if you have like even just a greeter, or like some people, if a mod is just in your channel saying hi to people as they come in, I think that's actually a huge benefit. And you know, just because the number up there says 2,000 or like 2,500 or like 1,700 or what have you, it doesn't necessarily mean that 2,000 people are currently watching your stream, in my opinion. I don't know the exact statistics of it, but it feels like what's actually going on is that there's 2,000 people on the Twitch's front page and your carousel just happen to be in that section. So just keep that in mind. I wouldn't expect like a huge audience just to like randomly pop out of nowhere unless you're doing like some super big debut event or something like that. They might show up for just that section of the stream. But yeah, if you're just running your regular middle of the content, I doubt too many people would stop by. That wasn't, if it's not like some super extravagant event. The next thing, I liked moving out of my comfort zone. As we all know, Twitch and most content creation in general has a habit of like pigeonholing people into their specific niches, mine being IDV and or Limbus Company. I felt like the only thing that I could stream was like IDV since I was worried about my numbers all the time. With the front page opportunity, I felt like this was the first time in a while I could make different types of content without feeling too stressed about who's watching it, since the opportunity is meant to pick up new audiences. Like this is the exact best time to play like a popular game out right now. Do something eye-catching. That's my biggest advice to you. Something that'll get people's attention. If you're normally like an IDV streamer or a League streamer or like, I don't know, some Marvel Rivals or whatever, I wouldn't recommend doing that because this is like your one chance to showcase what you're really good at. And a lot of people, when they play League, or at least when I do it, and like I'm trying to sweat or something, I don't really get as talkative. It's hard to respond to chat. So when I moved out of my comfort zone, what I did specifically was just chatting, because I don't really chat very often. I'm not really good at it. Most of my videos are kind of structured like this, where I have like a topic that I want to talk about and I just kind of yap about it for a little bit. But at the end of the day, I feel like some of these videos sound a little too instructional rather than like just let's have a Zatsu and a conversation with each other. That's just something I got to work on in the future. The next thing was setting goals. Not necessarily like how many viewers or followers can we get out of this event. For example, like my goal was that I wanted to showcase my favorite games that aren't very well known to the greater Twitch community. I found this out not too long ago. Well, actually, I found this out like a year ago. But when I streamed IDV on Twitch, a lot of people actually came by and watched it. IDV is very popular in Asia, but not very popular in North America. The thing is, though, if I streamed it on YouTube, sometimes I used to average like 300 to 400 people. Whereas on Twitch, when you look at like the general audience that's watching on Twitch, I feel like the average per channel is maybe like 10 to 12 people, which is not a lot of active viewers. But when you put IDV on the front page of Twitch, and a lot of people who do play the game that also watch YouTube have an opportunity to see that, they might come into your stream and say like, I get this very often actually, that like, oh, I didn't know anyone streamed this game on Twitch. I think it's a really good idea to have like maybe a call to action for the community. I posted it on my YouTube channel, and like both my YouTube channels, that, hey, I'm going to be on front page. I want to show off IDV to the world. I want to show off Limbus companies to the world. If you guys have some extra time and you're available at that time, make sure to stop by and maybe help some new people join the community, because you know, more people being interested in the game is a good thing. Honestly, that's kind of why I've turned into a YouTube truther in the first place, because I've noticed that there's a lot more people in the greater YouTube community than there is in the Twitch community, especially when it comes to certain streams. All right, now let's talk about some of the things that I would change. First, I would probably have played different games. I used to be a streamer that mostly streamed competitive games, whether they be high tier in like League or Marvel or Valorant, it doesn't matter. But if you aren't a League streamer, I wouldn't bother streaming League on the front page. People are going to come in and follow you expecting League content, and when they like inevitably never find it because I don't stream it, like what then? You know, a lot of those people are going to leave. They will probably go elsewhere to find their League content if they're looking for primarily League content. The same applies to most other competitive games or other like games in general. I know there's like a game crawl challenge that's going around right now, but those are really only good for people who have a generally well-established community already. And I feel like given the chance to do it again, I definitely would focus on things like just chatting or something way more eye-catching with like a lot of props. Like maybe when I do it, I want to schedule a time on my birthday, or like if I have a new outfit debut to come out, I would pretty much love to do that. And hey, they let you reapply every 6 months, so maybe 6 months down the road, I'll get another opportunity in November, and maybe my new outfit will be done. I would have prepared a bigger event like my birthday or anniversary. Honestly, because there's nothing really going on in these first like what, 7 months for me. Both my anniversary and my debut are kind of like later in the year. So it's like, I don't know if I want to wait another like 4 months and then I won't have the opportunity to register again until November. So I was just like, you know what? We're just going to do it as soon as possible. And then we're just going to go with the flow and see how I can do it. And I consider this a great learning opportunity for myself. And, if this information helps you, then I'm glad. So I was going to just put it into a video format. These videos are kind of like supposed to be helping other content creators, especially getting a footing in maybe Twitch or YouTube or whatever, what have you. And I'm not exactly the greatest authority. There are people much more experienced at this game than myself. But more information is always better. More data points, more experiences to help shape your own experience. And even though I'm not like the leading authority, I don't have like millions of viewers or anything, but I feel like every experience does matter. So come out of this conversation with just a grain of salt and take what you need out of it, and hopefully that helps you out later in the future. Lastly, to conclude, just taper your expectations. I've known a lot of VTubers who've done Twitch front page, and after the opportunities, their numbers don't change very much in the long run, me being one of them included. It is a huge opportunity, but it's very largely dependent on if you hit certain points to make the best use out of the opportunity. And for a lot of people, it's a very fine line that you have to tread to make it work. Either way, if the chance ever comes again, I hope my experience helps you out in planning your day. Anyways, I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, Wolfies. See you later. Bye-bye.